Hey friends, it's Ruben with Hi-Fi MIDI. Thanks for joining me again today for the second time for a live review of Native Instruments Session Guitarist Strummed Acoustic 2. I just got this I think the day before yesterday. I was taking advantage of Native Instruments 50% off sale. You know, they hardly ever have sales, and I've been wanting to upgrade my complete 11 Ultimate to 12 Ultimate. And I thought that with the 50% off discount, this would be a worthy upgrade because there were a few plugins in there that I really wanted to try out, namely Strummed Acoustic 2, and I forgot the name of the other one there. It's an electric guitar, but I'll review that one later on. So, one thing I don't really talk about much on these live streams is the installation, how the installation went. So Native Instruments uses this app called Native Access where you sign in and you can see all of the plugins that you own in a list, and it shows the ones that needed to be updated or installed on your hard drive. Well, so you can download them separately. And hi Nasif, you can install them separately so that you don't use all of your storage if you don't have enough. So it's custom. The issue is that Native Instruments, their plugins require a certain amount of space, and a certain amount of extra space, so larger than the actual download size. So if, for example, if the plugin is 10 gigabytes in size, it'll ask you to have 20 gigabytes of memory or storage available. Well, there is this huge bug in the software that even if you have 10 times the amount of space available, it might still give you that message, and it makes downloading impossible sometimes. So I have a lot of libraries that I've been wanting to install that it won't let me install because it says that I don't have enough space, which I do. So if you're joining me, hi. Thanks for joining me. So I contacted Native Instruments and let them know about this issue because I have a lot of issues with their plugins. Contact or Native Access, and that's huge. I mean, when it does work, there are a lot of great plugins out there that they make. So be wary about that. And I'm very, very upset about this issue because apparently it's very common and they haven't fixed it. So if you're considering purchasing from them, I would wait until they fix this issue and they make it known. They still haven't responded to me, by the way. So let's get into Strummed Acoustic 2. I'm going to turn my face off. All right, and then here is the interface. So what is new about Strummed Acoustic 2? I have Strummed Acoustic 1 and I've reviewed it and I've compared it to my other guitar libraries. Now, the way these work is that they're basically loops, but they're loops that are playable. They have variation to them. They have a controllable element. So it's not like you're just dragging an audio file and hoping it works. No, this is actually a playable instrument. It's not as flexible as, say, Ample Sound or Orange Tree samples or even real guitar. They pre-record all these patterns, and you can quickly switch them via key switching. So if you look at my keyboard, in this red section right here, you can switch these patterns on the fly. And those patterns can be changed by accessing menu. So if I double click on them, I have all these patterns right here. In total, just for this one, it's 112. Now, Strummed Acoustic 2 comes with two guitars. One of them is a vintage Martin 017, or I don't know if that's an O or a 0. 017, it's a 1934 guitar. Small-bodied mahogany, has a very dark sound to it, very warm. And then the other one is the Guild F414, which I'll get into right now in a little bit. That is a jumbo 12-string guitar. So two very useful instruments. They have 160 patterns in total. It allows you to do chord voicings, double tracking, and has onboard effects. And they have a new feature that lets you play bass notes in the left hand while you hold the chord in the right hand. That's pretty good. That's a lot more control. And then they have a tap to rhythm finder, which I'll get into. So the system requirements for this are the free contact player, version 5 and higher, or the full contact player, version 5 or higher. And it requires 9.6 gigabytes. Sorry, the download size is 9.6 gigs with 16 gigabytes uncompressed. So you'll need at least 16 gigabytes of free space. Now that doesn't mean that the loaded file is that big. So right now you can see that this is 0.85 gigabytes, so it's less than 1 gig. That's not bad for something this detailed. Now see, if you're asking if it's better than Ample Sound plugin, that's all dependent on what type of work you're doing. Now I will tell you the pros and cons, but first let me play this so that you can hear. So when you open this up, you have a preset menu of you can think of this as a song. So in the blue section right here, this is my chord area. So if I play this, I'm playing a C. You're gonna hear an open C chord. Sounds very natural, very beautiful. If I play a C major chord, you're gonna hear that third pop in. And the switches, the transitions are very natural. Now I'm going to switch to a different, it's called Handmade B. Sorry, it's called Handmade B. So this is the next pattern. So notice that the chord can change in the middle of a pattern. This is a very useful feature. All right, and I don't know if you can hear it on your end, but every time I switch chord, I get this little squeak. It's the sound an actual guitarist makes whenever they switch chords. So you're playing a chord, and then you slide your hand slightly to another position. It might be something very close, but there's that little squeak that I absolutely love. Pay attention. All right, let's hear the other ones. Oops. Okay, I'll go through the other patterns in a little bit, but I want you to notice on this top left corner. It's called voicing. Voicing, I can set it to low or high. What this does is that it focuses the pick on certain strings. So if I have my mod wheel, that controls this little green slider. If I have my mod wheel all the way down, it's going to be biased toward the lower strings. And if I have it all the way up, it's going to be biased toward the high strings. But if I have it in the center, you're going to hear both of them. Let me play that for you. Sorry, let me change the pattern. See, there's a low. These are the high strings. This is great if you're playing a song and there's a certain part where all the bass drops out, all the rhythm, and you just want to focus on those high strings and get that rhythm from the high strings. You can focus on those specific notes. This is a great feature. Another feature is that the pitch wheel controls the accent. So when I have the pitch wheel up, it's going to attack that string a lot harder on those on certain accents. So let me play that for you. Now this is easier to hear in other types of rhythms, but here you have your feedback of which chord you're playing. So that way you can know that the system is detecting the correct chord or not. Sound presets. So in this menu you have different sound characteristics. So different EQ settings, reverb, stereo width. This is really nice. Native Instruments is known for giving you great sounding presets. They sound polished, mix ready. That's a great feature. Okay, so down here, when you click this menu right here, you have all these song browsers. This is called the song browser. So you have all these different songs. And let's go to Andalusia. I think that's how you say it. This is a little more energetic. So that's very cool. Now on this corner right here, we have auto chord. So when you hit auto chord, you have this graphic pop up. You can set the key, and this is sort of like Ample Sound's select menu, or when you can select the chords, and so you have a limited range right here. But when I press C, that's gonna trigger C major. So instead of playing the whole chord, let's say you're not good at playing chords, but you can hit one key at least. If I want to make that G a G7, I'm going to hit G and that 7, which is right here. That's a great feature to have right there. Or you can make it a 9. Or sus4. If you wanted to change the key, you can do that as well. And it's going to reset everything on the bottom. So I'm going to turn that off. I like playing the chords myself. All right, so the red section is the key switching for the different patterns. Blue section is the chord. Yellow section are different effects, like different types of strums. So we have our down strum, which has a very nice open sound. And then the up strum is the next key. Those are velocity sensitive. Then we have a quick strum. I think this this toggles between, or this switches back and forth between up and down strum. Body effects right here in the green. I think this is just open strings. All right, so in the sound section, we have here you can see more in depth the voicing. So it's biased toward the high strings and then the low. You can turn on the doubling, which is going to give you that wide stereo effect. Then you have your EQ section, which has different presets. You can choose the amount. You can turn it off. It has compression. And then reverb, and you have different types of rooms. So this is nice. Let's see. And then you can change the volume of it calls it fret noises. That's like the standard term for that, the little squeaky sounds, but it's not actually fret noises, it's string noises or string slides. All those little squeaks are the strings, not the frets. Then you have your swing. So if I have straight rhythms, let's see. and I increase the percentage of the swing. Also, you have an option to quantize it. If you don't know what quantize basically means that it straightens it or it aligns it to a grid. So it's gonna, if it's 8th notes or 16th notes that you're playing, it's going to align those strums to the nearest 8th or 16th note. So it will sound very straight. Now you can set it to full quantize or to the original recording, meaning the original is gonna sound the most human-like. But you might not want that in your type of song. Let's say if you're playing a pop song and you want it to sound very, very straight and mechanical. The other thing is latch mode. So it seems they got rid of the instant stop to where when you're holding down the chord and you let it go. In the previous version, you could stop instantly, which I like. Now in this one, it only stops within, it can keep playing, stop within one measure, half a bar, quarter beat, or an 8th note. And it's kind of a bummer, but I guess that's going to make you have to program it differently. All right, pattern sync. So this is sync to the host by default, meaning if my DAW is set to 110, this is going to strum at 110. However, if I turn that off, I'm sorry, I think it's always set to follow the host. But if I press start on key, that means that the strum pattern is going to start the exact moment that I press it. If it's set to sync to host, that means that it's going to start at the right beat, right on time. Timing. This is when you start hearing the sample. So right now it's set to 0 milliseconds, meaning that it's going to start right on the beat. That's because some samples start a little bit later, or you hear the attack a little bit later, like up to 50 milliseconds. And then you can change the tempo, so make it halftime. Let's see. Let's see if I can actually do it on this pattern. Yeah, I don't know if it will work with halftime. All right, let's listen to a couple more patterns. Latin Lover. Sounds like me. I'm just kidding. That's really cool. Oh yeah, another thing I forgot to mention was the fact that you can search for different patterns. Let's see. Let me try to find the menu real quick. Oh, here it is. So you can filter it by open strums, muted strums. Oops, and then you can audition these. So here are the muted. See you later, Jason. Thanks for joining me. Then you can have mixed. And then you can have it separated by meter or filter it, I mean, or by triplets. Another thing you can do is tap the rhythm that you're searching for, something close to it at least. So record button, and here's a tap button right here. Bum 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 bum. So these are the closest to what I'm looking for. So that's a nice filter system. Now, this one right here in the middle is called separate bass. That means that, this means that you can actually play an independent bass line It's very limited though, and I like that because it makes it more realistic. So if I have Tennessee, I'm gonna choose that one. And when I play a chord in the right hand, now you have keys that pop up that are purple. So I'm playing an A. So the big question, and I just saw it right now, is it possible to make your own pattern? This is the weakness of this program, is that you're stuck with whatever patterns they have in here. They have a lot. They have many that might work for you, but you can't create your own. So you gain they sacrifice flexibility and customization, but you gain realism and natural sound. So it sounds very organic, and there's always something that you have to sacrifice. It's pretty frustrating. So that is the acoustic guitar, the 6-string, I mean. Let's listen to the 12-string. So let's see if I can switch it right here. There you go. I'll let that load. So as you can see, these are pretty big files. So you're gonna need, I would recommend at least 8 gigs of RAM. Even then, that's kind of pushing it. I have 16 on my laptop that I'm using for this live stream, and even that, I would say with all the plugins that I use, it starts getting limited after a while. Okay, so it takes too much memory? Yes. There are different ways of working around that. I don't know if this one takes advantage of the purging, but let's say you record a take. I'll use this one right here. I'm gonna record something really quick. So Native Instruments has this purge button. It analyzes all the samples that were needed to create this recording, and it gets rid of the ones that are not being used. So update sample pool, and now I'm only using 66.53 megabytes. That is significantly less. So I can play this back. As soon as I start hitting more different keys, or if I re-record that, it's going to load those samples again, or at least the necessary ones. But this is a great RAM saving feature. I'm trying to think of what other things I didn't cover with this. I mean, there's a lot of patterns, as you can see. And one thing I did before, when the patterns that were available didn't suit my needs, was that I took a couple of them and I put them together. I printed the tracks, meaning that I converted the MIDI into audio, and I just merged them together, and that was a workaround, but it's not the best way to do it. Well, friends, thanks for watching this review. I hope that you enjoyed it. please hit that thumbs up button, and if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't. So this is $99 on their website. I think that's a fair price for this alone. I'll be reviewing their Electric Sunburst. That's what it's called. If you haven't done so, please subscribe and leave a comment below. Tell me what you think of this plugin. Is it better than Ample Sound? Like I said earlier, it has a different type of use. This sounds amazing to me. Like, I am seriously blown away by the sound quality, by the features. It's just different. It's a different type of tool. I mean, in the end, you want to create music, right? And this will do it for you, but it does it differently. Also, in the description, I have a link to my Virtual Musician Academy. Please check that out. I'm really excited about that. It opens up July 15th, 2019. It's 50% off right now. So that's $25 a month to join a community where I will give you songs and you will create tracks, and I'll create tracks for that song as well. And I'll show you exactly step by step how I do it, my process, and you'll upload your files and I'll evaluate them, give you feedback. You also get discounts on different sample libraries, like big discounts, and access to my keyboard workshop was what I named it. It's a workshop to get better at playing the keyboard. Well, friends, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Take care.